The court struck down the congressional redistricting plan just weeks after 3 million people voted in that special election.
It would have created a map that heavily favored Democrats, helping them pick up as many as 4 seats in the midterm elections. Virginia's effort was part of a nationwide redistricting rush started by President Trump as he pressured Republican-leaning states to redraw their districts to help the GOP. Maps have been redrawn in 8 states in the last year.
Our coverage begins tonight with Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Drew Wilder. Drew, a major ruling today, and just moments ago, we found out that the legal fight is not over yet.
Jim, Democrats are not going quietly. We just learned within the last hour that a motion was filed in the Supreme Court of Virginia by Democrats notifying the state Supreme Court that they intend to appeal today's ruling to the U.S. Supreme Court. I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a minute, but first, what are they even appealing? Well, it was a major decision today by the Supreme Court of Virginia that found state Democrats violated the state constitution by effectively moving too quickly in their attempt to pass the redistricting referendum that we voted on just a few weeks ago. This is a major ruling that has huge implications right here in the Commonwealth and really all across the country. Virginia's Supreme Court is dealing a massive win to President Donald Trump and the Republican Party as the court's conservative majority shoots down Democrats' effort to redraw the congressional map ahead of the midterm elections.
The message that it's sending, unfortunately, to voters is that their voice doesn't count.
The Commonwealth's highest court found the issue wasn't with voters, rather the General Assembly. Virginia's state constitution has laws governing how it may be amended. In a 4-3 party line ruling, the court effectively found that Democrats rushed this amendment through too quickly.
Never before, in over 60 different instances, has the Virginia General Assembly passed a proposed amendment while Virginians were voting. Never before. This was unprecedented.
So now, this November, Virginians will vote on the existing congressional maps. 11 districts with a 6-5 advantage in favor of Democrats, who hoped the new maps would have flipped 4 seats in an attempt to keep pace with red states that are redrawing their maps to favor Republicans.
Democracy is endangered in America right now, and we were concerned that Virginia needs to do its part to make sure that Congress can act as an independent branch of government, because right now Congress has become Trump's lapdog.
Without Virginia, the mid-decade redistricting battle now favors Republicans, who have outpaced blue states in successfully redrawing their maps ahead of November.
And, I'm not judging what other states are doing, pro or con, but this is Virginia, and this is the Virginia way.
The ruling slams the door on a brutal week for Virginia Democrats, who have seen the DOJ launch an investigation into the Fairfax County prosecutor and an FBI raid executed on the business and political office of State Senator Louise Lucas.
This has been a difficult week for Virginia Democrats. How do you sum up what this has been like this week?
He made it clear that he was going to target the states that didn't vote for him. And he's doing everything he can to hurt our state. It started with all the firing of the federal workers, and then he went after a bunch of different grants that we got in this state. He tried to cancel our wind project. Now he's after different elected officials that dare to mouth off to him. And, it's almost like the McCarthy era again in a lot of ways, but even worse.
And the Supreme Court ruling that could give Republicans a key edge heading into 2027.
Drew, let's talk a little bit about this appeal. At 5 o'clock, you said the Supreme Court, the high court would be a high hurdle. Is this something that Democrats had to do, if not, for optics, if anything else, they had to react?
That might be what's happening here, Jim. That's a really fair analysis. Look, here's the motion that was filed in the Supreme Court of Virginia just a few hours ago. There's nothing argumentative in it. It's mostly signatures. This is purely procedural. This is a notice to the state Supreme Court basically saying, hang tight, we intend to file an appeal, and they have a deadline by which they have to do that. But yeah, it was 7 hours ago. I was having that Zoom with the Senate Majority Leader, Scott Surville, who is an attorney, by the way, and I asked him this exact question. I said, what's the move here? Is there even an avenue to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court? And he said, no. He goes, what was being argued at the state Supreme Court level was a state constitutionality question. Leader Surville told me at least 3 times this morning that the U.S. Supreme Court would have no jurisdiction over a state constitution question. In the same breath, though, he did say that just about every attorney in the Commonwealth is reviewing the ruling, and it's not impossible that some attorney somewhere finds a clever way to find a federal question in this case. But it could be optics. It's certainly a long shot and a Hail Mary, if nothing else.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens next. Drew Wilder live for us tonight. Drew, thank you. President Trump is celebrating the Virginia Supreme Court's decision. He posted a statement on Truth Social saying in part, quote, huge win for the Republican Party and America in Virginia. The Virginia Supreme Court has just struck down the Democrats' horrible gerrymander.